What if I told you that most millionaires don't get their wealth by accident? Behind the scenes, they're playing a very different game than the rest of us. It's not about working harder, it's about working smarter and often playing by a set of rules that most people don't even know exist. Today, we're diving deep into the strategies, habits, and mindset shifts that millionaires use to stay ahead, grow their wealth, and, most importantly, protect it. By the end of this, you'll have a toolkit that could completely change how you approach money, success, and even life itself. Ready? Let's unlock the Millionaire's Playbook. Now, let's start with the first thing that sets them apart, their mindset. The average person thinks in terms of limitations: I can't afford this, or I don't have the skills for that. But a millionaire? They think in terms of possibilities. They ask questions like, how can I make this happen, or who do I need to connect with to make this work? This simple mental shift changes everything. Think about it, if you approach every problem with I can't, you've already lost. But when you ask how, you're forced to find solutions. That's the first step in the Millionaire's Playbook, developing what's called a growth mindset. It's not just about positive thinking, it's about seeing opportunities where others see dead ends. The second chapter of the playbook? Leveraging other people's time and money. The average person is taught to trade time for money, work a 9-to-5 job, get paid, repeat. But millionaires understand a fundamental truth: your time is the most limited resource you have. Instead of spending time doing everything themselves, they build systems and leverage teams. They ask, who can help me achieve this, instead of, how can I do it all myself? Here's a classic example. Think of a successful business owner. Are they sitting there processing every customer's order, answering every email, and balancing the books themselves? No. They delegate, automate, and outsource. That frees them up to focus on the bigger picture, building strategies, scaling their business, and finding new opportunities. And when it comes to leveraging money? Millionaires rarely rely solely on their own cash. They use tools like loans, investors, and partnerships to scale their wealth. They understand the power of other people's money. For instance, in real estate, they'll use a mortgage to buy an income-generating property. The property appreciates, the tenants pay rent, and suddenly, they've built an asset using very little of their own money. This is a stark contrast to someone saving for years just to buy one home outright. Now let's talk about relationships, because this is another non-negotiable in the Millionaire's Playbook. It's often said that your network is your net worth, and that couldn't be truer. Millionaires are masters at building relationships with the right people. They surround themselves with mentors, advisors, and like-minded individuals who challenge them to think bigger and aim higher. It's not about knowing everyone, it's about knowing the right people. Think of it like this: if you're trying to climb Mount Everest, wouldn't you want a guide who's done it before? That's what a mentor is, someone who's already walked the path you're trying to take. They can help you avoid pitfalls, save time, and get to your goals faster. And let's be real, millionaires know how to work the room. They're intentional about attending events, joining masterminds, and connecting with people who can help open doors. Here's the takeaway: if you're not actively building a network, you're leaving massive opportunities on the table. Relationships can lead to business partnerships, investment opportunities, or simply life-changing advice. Now, let's address the elephant in the room: risk. A lot of people think that millionaires are just lucky risk takers, but that's a myth. Millionaires aren't gambling their way to success, they're taking calculated risks. There's a huge difference between reckless risk and strategic risk. The key is understanding the downside and ensuring the potential reward justifies it. Let's break it down with an example. Imagine you're considering starting a side hustle. A reckless risk would be quitting your job tomorrow without a plan, hoping the side hustle magically works out. A calculated risk? Starting the hustle while keeping your day job, testing the market, and scaling once you know it's profitable. Millionaires are also obsessed with mitigating risk through diversification. They don't put all their eggs in one basket. Whether it's investing in multiple income streams, spreading their investments across industries, or even diversifying their skill sets, they ensure that if one thing fails, it doesn't take their entire empire down with it. Here's another secret most people overlook: millionaires prioritize ownership over income. Let me explain. A high income might make you look rich, but ownership is what actually builds wealth. Think of it like this: if you're making $200,000 a year at a high-paying job, but you're spending it all, you're still dependent on that paycheck. Now, imagine instead owning assets, stocks, real estate, or even a business that generate income for you. Those assets don't just provide cash flow, they also grow in value over time. One of the most powerful forms of ownership is equity. That's why you see millionaires investing in startups, acquiring real estate, or building companies. They want a piece of the pie that keeps growing even when they're not actively working. Ownership is the ultimate wealth building strategy, and it's why you'll rarely see a millionaire relying on a single paycheck. Let's shift gears and talk about taxes, because this is an area where millionaires play a completely different game than the average person. The truth is, the wealthy don't just accept taxes as a given, they strategize to minimize them. They work with financial advisors and accountants to take advantage of legal tax breaks, deductions, and loopholes. For instance, they'll use strategies like setting up LLCs, investing in tax-advantaged accounts, or even relocating to places with lower tax rates. Here's a fun fact. Did you know that real estate investors can use something called depreciation to reduce their taxable income? Essentially, the government lets them write off the wear and tear on their properties even if the property is actually appreciating in value. That's the kind of knowledge that most people don't have access to, but it's a game changer for the wealthy. And let's be clear, this isn't about avoiding taxes entirely. It's about being smart and proactive, instead of just handing over more money than you need to. Now, let's get into a strategy that might surprise you. Millionaires are relentless learners. It's easy to think that once someone makes it, they stop learning. But the truth is, the wealthiest people are some of the biggest readers, researchers, and learners out there. Warren Buffett, one of the richest people in the world, famously spends 80% of his day reading. Why? Because knowledge compounds. The more you know, the better decisions you can make, and in the world of wealth, decisions are everything. But it's not just about reading books or taking courses. Millionaires actively seek out feedback and learn from their mistakes. They're not afraid of failure. In fact, they see it as a stepping stone to success. Every setback is a lesson that brings them closer to their goals. Let's talk about time management, because this is where millionaires really shine. While most people let their days control them, millionaires control their days. They're ruthless about prioritizing high-value activities, things that bring the most impact to their goals. You'll rarely see them wasting hours mindlessly scrolling social media or binge-watching TV. Instead, they use their time intentionally, focusing on tasks that move the needle. One powerful strategy they use is something called the 80-20 rule. This principle states that 80% of results come from 20% of efforts. Millionaires focus on that 20%, whether it's their top clients, their most profitable projects, or their highest impact habits. The rest? They either delegate it or drop it altogether. Finally, let's talk about something that's often overlooked: giving back. This might sound counterintuitive, but giving is a core principle in the Millionaire's Playbook. Many wealthy people donate to charities, support causes they care about, or mentor the next generation. Why? Because giving creates a sense of abundance. It reinforces the belief that there's always enough to go around. And on a practical level, giving back often opens doors to new opportunities and builds goodwill. So, here's the big picture. The Millionaire's Playbook isn't about luck or secret handshakes, it's about strategy. It's about shifting your mindset, building assets, leveraging relationships, and constantly learning. But the most important part? Taking action. You can know all the strategies in the world, but they mean nothing if you don't put them into practice. So, ask yourself, what's one step you can take today to start playing the millionaire's game? Maybe it's reading a book on investing, reaching out to a mentor, or even just shifting the way you think about money. Whatever it is, take that step. Because the truth is, wealth isn't reserved for a lucky few, it's available to anyone willing to play the game. That's the Millionaire's Playbook, laid out for you. Now it's up to you to make it happen. Remember, the strategies they don't want you to know aren't locked away, they're right here. What will you do with them?